Good afternoon to everyone. I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of people can be explorers, can be scientists, can be environmentalists. They describe life on Earth as a miracle. They show how magical it is to have a planet containing such a biodiversity and the need to protect it, the need to be green, the need to be respectful, the need to have empathy and compassion for everything that we have around us. And have you noticed how little effect this has? It's quite incredible to see that something that seems obvious is so difficult to implement. This is why I believe if we want to obtain a change on the world today, we have to shift from being ecological to being logical. Because ecological today is very much linked to political parties. It's very much linked to the last 50 years, where you had the green people explaining that we had to reduce mobility, reduce comfort, reduce lifestyle, reduce growth, reduce consumption, and the population does not want to reduce anything. The population wants better, not less, which might explain that the ecological parties always remained a little minority, and why the protection of the environment has not moved enough, and why we are now facing really huge problems, not only for the climate, because some people deny climate change, but for health, for biodiversity, just pollution, depletion of natural resources, things that you cannot deny. So what should we do now? I think a lot of people who have to rule the world have no access to empathy, respect, and compassion. They have access to greed, to power, to money, to profit. So let's try to see how they can get all that and at the same time protect the environment. And this was not possible in the past, but today it is. Today, what has made the situation maybe with a lot of hope is the fact that the solutions are profitable. And how can we explain that? I think today humankind is like a human being in a bathtub. And there is a leak in the tub. And what is the guy in the bath doing? He's opening the tap wide open to add water and compensate the leak. This is today exactly what we do for energy, for natural resources, generally in our life. We are wasting today half of the energy that is produced. And why that? Well, because we don't see energy, because energy is cheap, because we don't understand what is energy, and because the first thing that we are linked to are devices, systems, process that use energy, but the only thing we see from energy is the bill at the end of the month. Today, it's very interesting to see that even if you keep the same production of energy with coal, with gas, with oil, with all the non-renewable resources, even if you keep all this, you could divide by 2 the use of energy just by replacing the old systems by the new modern systems. When you see that a combustion engine, thermal engine in a car, is 27% efficient, you lose 73% of the fuel you put in the tank. And you know that an electric engine, like the one we had on Solar Impulse, and the one you can implement in an electric car, is 97% efficient. You see the gap that we can catch. Same for insulation of houses. Today the houses are insulated like they were a century ago, even worse. most of the energy we put inside to heat and to cool goes out. If you speak of lighting systems, in a country like Switzerland, I don't know for Poland, country like Switzerland, if you replace all the light bulbs by LED lamps, you can shut down a nuclear power plant. If you replace all the electric heaters with direct resistance with heat pumps, you shut down the second nuclear power plant. It means, like in a country like Switzerland, two out of the 5 nuclear power plants of the country are used only to compensate the inefficiency and the losses of old systems that are completely outdated. It's exactly the same if you see the industrial process. Today, if you observe the industry, you still are using electric motors that are 50 or 60 years ago. ABB, one of our partners, is proposing new kinds of electric motors that could bring a profitability of the industry higher than the margins that they have today on the sales they have. You have efficiency for distribution of energy that can be increased, what we call the smart grid. You know that today, it's really interesting to see that you have an average consumption during the day, and you have 2 peaks of consumption, usually midday and the evening. Sometimes it's morning and evening. It means that because you cannot shut down a power plant, you need to produce at the level of the peak of consumption during the entire day and night, just to match for 2 moments of the day where you have a lot of demand. What is a smart grid? It's a way to cut 20 or 30% of both peaks of demand and spread them over the rest of the day. It's not a question of consuming less, it's a question of consuming at other moments. You can store that energy in batteries, you can store it in water, in a dam, you can store it in heat, you can store it in cold, you can store it in compressed air, you can store it in hydrogen, and use it at another moment of the day that's in the peak of consumption. It means that if you have a clever way to deal with energy, you can reduce by 20% at least, and this is to be made today. In the future, it will be even much more, but you can reduce by 20% the entire production of the country. So the people who tell you that we can only reduce by 1% per year are completely wrong. The people who tell you that it's impossible to be more efficient, that it's impossible to be cleaner, are wrong. You have a lot of people who live in the past. You have a lot of people who just make a direct line from the past to the future and believe the future will be like this. It's completely wrong. We are today in a 5th revolution, which is the revolution of the energy system, of the clean technologies. I don't like green technology. I like clean technology because it has nothing political. It's not ecological anymore. It's much more than that. It's logical. And if you were to implement all these energy efficient systems and technologies, you would create more jobs, more profits, more growth than what we have today. Why do we have a flat growth rate in Europe and in America? Because we don't have anything better to give to the consumer than what they already have, beside the latest smartphone and the latest computer. But if you see, the curve of improvement becomes almost flat. You change not because it's much better, you change by the fashion, because it's a new brand. Well, or marketing. Today, if you were to offer to the population new technologies to save energy, to reduce their energy bill, to be healthier, to be cleaner, it would be a fantastic new market opening for the industry. A huge market. You have companies who have understood that, and they make extremely well. They sell things that reduce the energy bill. This is why I have a big hope for the future, but we have to motivate people to use these technologies and show them the truth. So the second step after flying around the world in Solar Impulse is to gather 1,000 of these efficient solutions, 1,000. And to be able, by the end of next year at COP24, to show all these solutions to governments, institutions, and big corporations. Because all these environmental targets, they are not based on the reality of the solutions. They are based on political negotiations, which is not enough. We need to tell them which are the solutions that can simultaneously improve employment and decrease the waste of energy. So in order to reach these 1,000 solutions, the Solar Impulse Foundation is now creating the World Alliance for Efficient Solutions to bring together corporations, startups, individuals, institutions, foundations, associations, whoever wants to join, respecting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and bringing new ideas, solutions, technologies, products, process that can have a part into the increase of efficiency and sustainability. So we will have a way we offer this, the Solar Impulse Foundation is offering it, promotion of these technologies, credibility, contact with potential investors. So we will be helpful to governments by bringing solutions and helpful to the companies and the startups who have solutions that are not well known. Because today, a lot of these solutions are completely ignored and neglected. So if you have in Poland anything that can fit into this World Alliance, in terms of startup, companies, ideas, product, process, whatever, you can contact us, you can apply to become a member, and we'll be more than happy to support what is done also here. We're working already with different cities, with different countries, with the United Nations, with the European Commission, with the World Bank, with the European Bank for Investment. We have a Union for Mediterranean. So we start to be well equipped to support all the ones who have solutions for efficiency. So you see, the goal is to shift from being ecological to being logical. We will protect the environment, but don't tell it too much. It will mainly improve the economy and the industry, and this is what a lot of people look for. So let's give it to them. By the way, it protects the environment, and everybody will be happy. Good luck.